Smashing the party. We're going to go on a minute. I'm just doing a sound check. If you're online, you know the deal. Give me a holla, give me a shout, give me a comment. Let me know I got sound. Got about 1 minute, 10 seconds till I go live. And we're going to talk about the new president that you will be receiving in November, President Trump. So give me about a minute. I'm going to powder my nose. And that doesn't mean drop any cocaine, but I'm going to do this thing. All right. So we're going to talk about this reality that you're going to be facing in November. And it's not just to get the clicks. We're going to talk about the real deal, what's really happening. All right. Give me 60 seconds and I'll be back to fire you up. In the meantime, you can listen to my cheesy Fiverr made intro. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's get this started. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. My bumps. Oh, sorry, no, that's a weak ass transition. We gotta do this one. There we go. All right, listen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I started the lead off, probably pissed off. Probably why you're watching. You probably are like, "What the fuck, dude? I thought you're a liberal." President Trump. You heard it here first. Maybe not first, but not the last. I don't like it either, but I'm convinced that we're gonna have a President Trump. And I don't know if you can take me off that ledge and convince me otherwise, quite frankly. So I'm going to wax poetic about it. I'm going to talk about this prediction that I have, and I'm going to validate it with some information. Totally opinionated. Obviously, I can't predict the future, but I'm going to try to zone into the spirit of the zeitgeist. And I'm going to talk about kind of this platform, what's going on, some tidbits that I'm thinking about, and we'll go from there. So let's start off, knock it out with the Trump lead that I said. Trump, President Trump. Say it with me, President Trump. I don't like it. Maybe you like it. Maybe you're excited about it. Why am I so confident in my prediction? And I'm 100% willing to be wrong on this and happy to go down and say, I was wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. And I remember the feeling I had in 2020 when those tallies were coming in. I'm just like, what the was it 2016 when the tallies were coming in. And I remember saying to people, I just have a feeling I'm not so confident. Democrats were real confident. They're like, this is going to be a no-brainer. Hillary's a lock. And I remember just being like, and I so many conversations. If you're one of them that had them with me, you remember you had to convince me that it was okay. There's several people that I talked to that were like, "Yo, Nate, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be fine." Now, at the time, obviously, I was fearful because I knew the shitstorm that was coming. I understand the archetype of narcissism and how the last person that feeds their ego is the person they listen to. So putting that person in the most powerful position in the world made no sense to me. And there was fear galore. I didn't give a fuck about policies. I just cared about the fact that we have a psychopath in there. You're talking to somebody that dated, integrated, friended, loves people, and psychopaths and narcissists. I've encountered them, and I'll tell you, I think they're interesting. I'm very intrigued, but absolutely nowhere near do I want that person to be making decisions. And then also, being aware of the fact that pumping a narcissist with flattery is the way to get them to do whatever the fuck, typically. So we're putting this person in power that's going to have no moral compass. And we already knew we didn't, but So that was my fear. I was fearful. And I also didn't like the racism that came out. And you can say, oh, I know. Some of you think he wasn't a racist. You think he was a bigot. Fuck you. But I say he was a racist. I didn't like that. You know, dog whistling to me is loud. I guess I'm the dog and the whistle is the language he uses. And I hear it. It's like screaming in my ears when he's fucking talking about, you know, the invasion. If you say invasion from the border, I'm already thinking you're a racist because these aren't people that are invading. I understand you're fearful, and then you've had to, label these things with these, superfluous words. That what that means is you're using words that kind of enhance the power of it, like brutally interrogated. I read that today. I read Charlie Kirk brutally interrogated some college student, and I'm like, that brutally is to indicate that it was a rough and tumble kind of audition, or in a blah, 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 blah. I'm fucking stumbling here. I'm fired up just thinking about the thought of President Trump. I'm not gonna lie. So, but I think when people add flowery language, obviously to enhance kind of the emotional impact of the word, you have to start wondering what the fuck's going on. And I'm telling you right now, when somebody's saying invasion from down south, that's using words that don't really apply to the folks that are really desolate and don't have much, and they're trying to get a better life. So you're going to argue that those folks are bringing in fentanyl. I'm going to argue that the people that are making the fentanyl need to be fucking found. I mean, come out. No one's making fentanyl in their backyard. Anyway, all right. President Trump. Say it with me, President Trump. I don't like that sound. Why am I so confident in this prediction? All right. This is where Nate pulls from his personal experience, and there is no way, or I don't have a time machine. I do like to think that I have a good intuition. Of course, after my therapy tonight, I'm realizing that maybe there are parts of me that think a little too highly of myself, and then there are parts that really think shit. So I do think, though, that I have a good read on the room. I felt in 2016 that there was a slight chance that Hillary might lose, and I was vocal about it. You may find some places online where I was pretty confident about the fact. Actually, I don't even know if I was streaming in 2016. I don't think I streamed on, maybe just a couple lives here and there, but I wasn't an official content creator, which I've decided to take on the moniker today. I am a content creator. I create content. I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm just literally trying to speak my mind, but I guess I've had to now establish in different forums and for tax purposes and everything else that I'm a content creator. There are certain rules that content creators get. I don't know why I like that low voice. But anyway, all right, President Trump. So it's scary. One of the things that's happening in my life, if you have been following along, is this battle with the platforms I've been performing. It's like I'm trying to break through and get people to listen, and I've got to play the dance. I've got to go for the clicks and make some cool headlines, and I got to update my thumbnails and all this shit. And it's like, all right, I got to comply, and I'm like moving around, trying to navigate it and push this, boost that, just so I can get some visibility in a digital system that was created that somebody or something has control, that has algorithms and conditions and everything else. As a software architect, explain there's all kinds of things that kind of decide switches that happen, right? But those switches aren't like people. So what that means is some person has had to program them, those conditions. And by the way, if you're a tech person, you're like, dude, that's not how you talk about software. I'm not talking to you. This is a metaphor. These are similes and literary devices to use to explain to folks that don't understand programming. But the bottom line is, fuck, goddamn, I hate when I go on those tangents and I really want to pound the tangent and then I miss. One of the things I'm seeing is that as I had to go through this battle, my Instagram went down. And one of the things that happened as a side effect of them accusing me, because my reach was growing so big, by the way, I did find a little loophole, which I probably shouldn't tell you about, but if you have a lot of followers and you unfollow them, you will have what's called a vacuum that then the algorithm says, oh, this person's kind of regressing from our platform, throw their content into the mix. And so you'll see your reach spike. That's what happened to me. I decided to change my followers and I unfollowed a ton of people. My reach spiked and it created this kerfluffle. We're like, you're not paying us for this fucking reach that you're getting. And so I'm like, I didn't try it. I'm just trying to clean up my shit. But they did all this stuff and it eventually ended up with my Instagram being essentially unusable for 3 weeks from the app. I could post and do other things. But all this is just to explain to you the situation that led up to this conclusion, which is that when I went through this, I noticed that my feed started to change. It's almost like they re-indexed my feed. And that makes sense to me. What that means is they may kind of resort and reorganize the information so that it's easily accessible. Indexing basically means that you make it so that's faster access, and you use an identifier and you do some dances and normalize it, and you try to make it so that you can access that information quicker. And so you index it. It basically means it goes through and does a catalog of it and then reassigns it and kind of organizes the index so that you can get then fetch that data. A little bit more complex than that. And if you're tech and I stumbled on that one, it doesn't matter. The point is that my feed changed. It changed. I mean, I've been on the fucking platform. It took 4 or 5 years off, so I've seen it. I've kind of played around with it. I had my Delilah the Pug going up to 14,000 people. So it's not like I'm new to social media. It's not like I don't have the technical understanding of what's going on here. So my feed is just crazy, especially Smashing the Party. Smashing the Party feed is literally nothing. Now, that's not the account that got affected. It was my main account, but every single account underneath now has these new conditions where I can barely post. If I do a like, and I don't, if I do a like, or if I ha-ha something, which I think they found they're onto me, I'd ha-ha somebody's post and then comment underneath. They won't allow me to do it anymore. And that's a nice way to get engagement. So you laugh at somebody's post and you comment underneath. Look, I know it's trolling. It's bullshit. I'm playing the game. I'm sorry. I'm speaking my mind, and I'm not just trying to piss people off, but I understand the engagement comes from those emotional moments. So, but all this aside, I'm left with this feed, which is just like, those placards that you see on Facebook. And then for some reason, they're auto following all these groups that are default. And if you start to look in these groups, you realize they're coming from Macedonia, Romania, or they're wrapped up in an LLC. You can literally go to the page. If you see a concern, anything, go to my page, you'll see all the page transparency. Nobody looks at it. But before you give another like, look at the fucking page you're liking and see the transparency. If the guys or gals from Macedonia or Romania, do you realize you're being played, right? You do. And I'm telling you, a large majority of those pages, you've got to check the page transparency. It's not just the check mark that means anything. In fact, I have no check mark and I'm fucking legit. All right. You can say I'm not, but so I'm just like left with this feed and I'm just like, holy shit. I was going to actually have my Instagram on and go through that. I still can now that I actually have Instagram. I might set it up. I want to make it so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm not worried about my feed. I've done a lot of cleaning up on my feed to get all the trash and garbage that I'm, kind of my id like to look at, if you will. Look, I'm human. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a secret that there was a time where I just liked the aesthetics of Instagram. The aesthetics being my favorite, really most beautiful thing that I think on this planet, and I just appreciated it. So I'm gonna get myself in trouble for that one. I understand that, but I'm just being honest about the fact that I've kind of turned over a new leaf, not only in my personal life, but also digitally wanted to reflect kind of really how I live my life. And that tends to be not that way. So, I've got this feed that's cleaned up. It's getting, I'm unfollowing a bunch of shit, and it's not just, models. It's a lot of just stuff that I support people that didn't support me. So I'm unfollowing, and I noticed that it's just, as soon as I kind of go back to my feed and refresh, there's this new conservative kind of thing that's in my feed constantly. So I'm surmising that there's I'm thinking that there's a default kind of a couple ideas come to mind. One is that the Republicans are doing a better job of using their resources to create a zeitgeist online. kind of a spirit online. Like they know that by pounding the platform with content, that out of that content, enough people see that content, you're going to get some folks that are going to be activated by that. And so it's rage inducing shit. I mean, it's rage inducing shit. It's always going to make you, whether you're liberal or Democrat, and it's genius. I actually am kind of envious in a way because they're always posting questions that are going to get engagement because it's going to piss you off. And if you're not pissed off, you're going to be like, yeah, fuck yeah. All right. What does all this have to do with my prediction? Dude, you're way off the map on this. You're talking about President Trump winning based on your fucking little small sample of social media foibles? Yes, I am. More than that, I'm talking about things that people have said to me, people, places, things, and that feeling that you have that there is much more rage on the Republican side. And I hate to say it, but rage is a fucking motivator. Rage will get you off your sofa. Joe Biden's he's doing great. His policies are actually good. We're actually in a good economy, despite what the fucking people want to say. The numbers, a lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people need, housing. I'm not saying the world's perfect, but on those metrics we've used before to measure capitalism, we're doing better than we have. So as not a proponent of capitalism, I'm still going to admit that the things that are, that we're all kind of rooting for generally, they're better. Still has nothing to do with Joe Biden winning. It doesn't matter how good he does. I think the real key here is that these folks are mad. This is their guy. He's done a fantastic job of aligning himself as somebody who's going to go against the establishment, which is always going to be kind of underneath the threat of Republicans, which have this threat of anti-government. It's always going to come out that way. And so if you got a candidate that's anti-government, they're always going to have a place in the Republican Party in some way, depending on where the Republican Party is in its life cycle. They may or may not be at the top, but they're gonna be in the mix because anti-government is a theme. Anti-taxation. I mean, that's the taxation without representation, and the government was this big bad thing that they had to thwart, and somehow they've kind of morphed this idea that our government, even though that was based on British government, that our government now doesn't. I'm not going to say that the government doesn't need improvement, but the idea that rip it all down and it's useless and there's, it's not functional is completely shit. There are functional parts of our government. There's problems with everything. And I'm not an advocate saying, oh, everything's, in fact, the reason I'm doing this podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it, somebody called it a stream of consciousness. I kind of liked, although it does make it seem like it's there's no structure. I have a little structure. But I think that when I think about this, I don't see any way that Democrats are going to overcome that excitement that Republicans have, the anger. And it's not excitement. The reason Trump won after Hillary, they were raging mad at the fact that Barack Obama was a successful president. That was anger. Trump was the manifestation of anger for the Republican Party because he didn't have any of the qualifications of a good leader. So what else is there? Well, he spoke against the establishment, which is always going to fly with certain folks. And even Democrats like that shit. I had Democratic friends say, it's not so bad if he goes in and wins because he'll tear all this shit down. I want to see it teared down. It's not perfect. We're always wanting to do things over. Let him do it. Fucking short-sighted, dumbass shit like that. But so I see the reason I'm making this prediction, not only based on my kind of default feed, but I think the platforms are that's their default. And so if you don't do any work, you're going to be influenced. It doesn't matter how tough you are. I am influenced by my feed. Look, even if you're not on social media all the time, whatever when I say feed, you think social media, you have a feed to it. Maybe you control it. Maybe you listen to NPR and you think you've got the whole world under your, understanding. Maybe that's your feed. Maybe it's Fox, whatever, but you have some kind of information source. At least if you're interested, you should have an information source of some sort, or I mean, my hope is that you're at least intrigued to understand why this whole fucking experiment is working or failing or not, or it's failing you. So, that's a whole nother. Maybe we can loop that in with this because, quite frankly, it comes down to people being activated and understanding what they're voting for. And it's very easy for a person who is angry about their situation to look to Trump and say, man, that guy's looking to tear shit down too. He also doesn't like them. Yeah, he's kind of right about that shit, even though I'm not racist. I'm not going to think that that's racist because he's got a point and yada, yada, and they'll justify it because the core belief is that he's like them and that he is trying to help them by having the same philosophy about the way government's been impacting their life. The truth is, though, he is not the same. He is the king, the welfare king. He has utilized our government for his own desire for his entire life. He's gotten government subsidies for housing projects. He's also been litigious out the ass, meaning he's been in court for any fucking thing, using the court systems to abuse and bully people. This is a welfare king, folks. We're going to elect a person, and I hate to use that word because I know it has some bad connotations in how it was used. And if you want to know the truth, the largest recipient of welfare are rural whites. So that's not even a fucking thing. But let's just call Trump the welfare king because he has relied on government to boost himself for his entire life. The idea that he's been some private sector genius, he essentially didn't make any money from what his dad gave him. I mean, if you look at putting that money in a stock, what was it, 300 million, putting it in an index and just letting it go would have done better than what Donald Trump's done, filed bankruptcy several times. He recently just became a billionaire only because Truth Social stock was up. But I mean, it's all facade. The more and more you kind of dig into life, you realize that the folks around you that are driving these cars and living in these houses and doing these vacations, all this shit, a lot of it's a facade, it's a mirage. And it just gets worse and worse the higher you get. You just become more and more leveraged. And so you have more and more kind of at risk, but you're still doing the same dance. I'm not shitting you. When I was a mortgage broker, it blew my mind. Surgeons living paycheck to paycheck. Fucking mind blowing, right? But it just happens. It happens to everybody, and you kind of realize when as you're making money, if you're not smart about it, you increase your standard of living to be equal with what your pay is, which is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. You always want to be at least 10 times less of living off of your whatever your money is, whatever your income is. You want to be 10 times. You want to have that when they fire me or when I lose this job, I can sustain myself for a fucking 2 years or whatever. That's the way you need to start thinking about it. And that's a whole nother, I'm not going to try to transform into Dave Ramsey here, but which I'm not a fan of either. But I think that was a nice rabbit hole, wasn't it? I think the kind of what scares me the most is just seeing kind of the information flow that we have, along with the fact that there's no excitement on the Democratic side. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just still standing on my I told you so mountain with Elizabeth Warren. And you can say whatever the fuck you want, but she's a queen. And she was she read the Mueller report, and I just salivated at the fact that she read it. She's like, yeah, this guy's a criminal, and this is ridiculous. And everyone else was like, well, but and the Republicans, and then the Democrat, and then the Republicans wouldn't read it. So that to me was like, hey, remember I told you I wasn't even a fan of her really. You start digging into her policies. I maxed out all my shit on her. I was like, boom, this woman's the queen. She knows it. I love when she destroyed Bloomberg. So I'm standing on I told you so mountain saying we wouldn't be in this situation if we would have elected Elizabeth Warren. But we're in this situation now. We've got Joe Biden. I've said it before. I don't watch him. I'm going to vote for him. I'll throw some campaign contributions at him. I think he's done a great job. I don't think he was the right person. I don't care what he's done. I think he's done a good job. But I didn't think he was the right person because I thought he was too fucking old back then. I think he's too old for it. I can't watch him. He's going to, I mean, the whole thing with them post on conservative, by the way, I'm in the conservative sphere now. So I know what they think. They got all these memes of him kind of stumbling and walking around, and they're compelling. We've all had grandpa. We know what it's like when grandpa slows down, and we've got to pull out the chair for him, and maybe the drive-in's got to go. Well, this is what we're electing. Both of these two men are, I mean, ridiculous. It's the typical white haired fucking white male bullshit that we're like all kind of wondering which white male is going to be our fucking leader. If we would have thought out we did think out of the box with Barack Obama, and I've had conservative friends that say, yeah, he was a fucking good president, because you can't deny it. He had a lot of shit going. He got Osama bin Laden. He did a lot of other shit. Healthcare, big shit got done. Plus, people hated him. His name was Barack Obama, and he was our president. Fucking, it's like mic drop, motherfucker. Fucking that's my president. Like, whatever. What do you mean is Barack Hussein Obama? That's fucking, so he was a baller. Trump comes along. They're fucking pissed. The Democrats got a baller. They got a baller. They got a real baller. And they fucking overtake Hillary. Now, there's a lot that I'm missing in my prediction, but I a lot of things that are supporting my viewpoint. But the number one thing is the fact that I don't see Democrats excited about Joe Biden like they should be. And I don't see them motivated against Trump like they should be. It's kind of like, well, yeah. And we're kind of riding along. Look how good he's doing. Look, it's not cutting it. I had one person knock on my door. One person knock on my door. I mean, I remember during the Obama, this is another problem I have with Democrats not having primary folks, because it doesn't get people off their ass. Yes, the incumbents typically win. I'm not sure that's okay. I don't know if I like that, because I think there should be a risk of this person losing their job, so they have to fucking shape up or ship out. Even Joe Biden, even my guy, and I say my guy because I voted for him, and I'm going to take him over anyone else anytime. So, by the way, I see my Instagram comments flurrying. Whoever that is, I will come back, because you've done such a good job of commenting. I'm going to jump in, and I'll come back and address some of those comments, because I'm sure that you're feeling the brunt. And whether it's conservative or Democrat, I'll address them. And I see it flurrying, and I don't want to get distracted, because you can see how easily I'm distracted. President Trump, say it with me, because Democrats aren't motivated enough. Republicans are pissed. They've got their information warfare game on point. If you think that's just a crazy word that Nate's pulling out of his ass to create some fear, uncertainty, and doubt, I wish I was. But quite frankly, they started winning the information, disinformation, information, propaganda game back in 2016, and they continued. Facebook made some changes, but Facebook allowed a ton of new content. As I'm looking through my feed, there is a lot of content that is post 2022. So we're talking about 2022 is when they started ginning up the Facebook engine. And you look at these big sites, like 1 million followers on Facebook. It's usually 1 million likes, 1 million followers. So it's like they get 1 like and they get a follower. Every like, they do an invite. If you go and like a post, they'll invite you to their page. It's good practice. It's a good way to grow your social media. I'm doing the same thing. So, but it tells you that it's like kind of like a 1-to-1 thing. They're usually very, very even. But look at the page number of likes and look at how many followers they have, and they're millions. And they started not that long ago. And so a couple things kind of come to mind. They're just doing a good job of, whether it's real or fake, they're ginning up a lot of excitement online, which can translate directly into getting people off the sofa. And so I believe that Republicans are at an advantage, a huge advantage, because they don't like the incumbent. They love the idea of ripping down the establishment. They're still going to give Trump a pass because he stands on top of that, hey, I'm anti-establishment hill, while they're also going to simultaneously continue to push the fucking, they'll do whatever it takes to win. And I am saying that with respect, because I do envy the way that Republicans are able to kind of, again, it's mostly disinformation that gets people pissed, but even real information with a twist can get you off your ass. I really should go through, maybe I'll do a side video. I'm going to be doing some video editing now that I'm a content creator, some audio editing as a content creator, and maybe I'll put together a little a video. I wanted to do it real time. It's just difficult to do just because, I'll probably get some shit in the feed that's just not going to be funny or not going to be pertinent. You're gonna be like, what's that? And it might be a distraction because I do follow a lot of stuff. I follow a lot of tech stuff, and I use Facebook for its purpose of the groups. I like the groups that are there. But there are also places where people can kind of formulate crazy ideas. But I think that would be a good demonstration because I've been talking about it, and perhaps maybe your feed doesn't look like that because you didn't get re-indexed, and maybe you've done a good job of parsing it. But I just feel like they're winning the information war, and I feel like they're doing a good job of triggering people to get off their ass by bringing up the perfect wedge issues. I mean, you can find a person on the Democratic side that's going to be open to thinking that, you know what, the whole trans issue really comes down to the fact that my daughter's going to have to compete with a male in sports. And I'm as liberal as they come, but that's just where I draw the line. That's the kind of thing they're good at doing. They're good at bringing these issues up that are kind of divisive, and hopefully they can get some folks to say, you know what, this is too much. I can't fight with this party. It's radical. So they're going to try to radicalize those ideas that we want to normalize. And so that will push people to the other side. The other elephant in the room is I don't know what to talk. I can't do. I should make fun, but because I did do some research, and he has there's like a weird spasm thing that is genetic that his family has. So there's a couple people in his family that talk like that. I'm speaking of Robert Kennedy. I could listen to Elizabeth Warren on 24/7. And I said, I pick her because when I initially liked her, I really kind of, call me a misogynist, I didn't like her voice. It bothered me. It was just annoying. Then I grew to like her policies. I ignored her voice. And now I'm like, you know what? The voice doesn't even bother me anymore. So it was truly an audible thing and nothing to do with her womanhood because I was still loving the shit she was saying. I just couldn't watch her or listen to her until, I kind of came through that. Why did I talk about Elizabeth Warren's voice? No, it's all about money and how they spend it. See, now I'm going to look at the Instagram thing. So President Trump is in a position of great advantage because the Republicans are good at what they do, and that is finding issues that piss people off to get them off their sofa and defend that status quo. And so as conservatives, they want people to get fired up about anything that's going to change. And so they're going to find ways to make people say, look, change is scary. This is strange. There are other people, those things over there. We don't want to do that. Remember back then when things were good, make America great again, right? It's a theme. It's a theme. We got to keep things the same. Anything that's different, new, outside, can't control, fuck that. We got to make it seem bad and horrible. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter there are people involved. And these are people that are dealing with real struggles of identity. They're trying to find out who they are in a world that has decided exactly who they should be. To me, that's fucking horrific. That's horrific. I was going to say horrific, which is also a word. It's used in the south of France, where they make champagne. All right. So let's kind of regroup here. I went on the tangent about the Robert Kennedy thing. Robert Kennedy's going to suck some votes. I was talking to my nephew, who he's a bright guy. I know he's watching, so I'm going to say he's bright and not super intelligent like maybe he wants me to say, but he is pretty smart. And I respect his opinion. So I was just having a chat with him, and one of the things that he brought up when we were together a couple weeks ago recently was that he's confident as well that he thinks Trump's going to win. Now his kind of his idea is coming from these, him and his wife live in Florida. They're doing, by the way, I'm not trying to make, there's no badness. Hopefully I'm not going to make you, I know your relatives watch, and I hope I'm not making this bad because, quite frankly, it was good information. I hope I'm not going to blow up your political spot, buddy. If I am, I'm sorry. But um, I think it was an astute observation that he had about the fact that there's more and more people that are turning to conservative alt-right kind of version of this Republican Party. And so, his note his him and his wife have been noticing that amongst their friend group, a lot more people are kind of falling back to this conservative values, which is like means that they're going to be more churchy, if you will. And so what does that mean? More Republican, more Republican-y. That typically aligns with church people being limiting their views to saying this is our little community and we need to keep it this way, so we vote Republican. I hate to say it, folks, but religion does create classes and groups of people. So sorry. I'm sorry you're not fucking performing the works of Jesus Christ the way you wanted to. I'm just sorry. You're just not. But so this has attracted a large, it seems to be a swing towards this alt-right in his view. So he's actually the one that kind of put this on me and said, just be ready for President Trump. And I didn't really fight him on it because I'm not gonna. I remember when I was wrong before, but I started thinking more and more about it, and I agree with him. I do, and I'm going from my little small bubble, but I just want somebody to prove me wrong. I would love to be wrong in this case. Like, I don't like being wrong because I feel like I try to think things through and at least keep myself a back door where I can say, well, I did provide for the option that, or in the situation that might be, it's very legalese the way I'm doing this. It's like, well, I may say this, but I'll give myself an out so that when I'm wrong, it's like, well, I still have this point that I made, and I try to accommodate for the fact that there are errors in my thinking, right? But I'd love to be completely wrong way off the charts on this. I don't think I'm going to be. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people that are excited about the presidency of Trump. They're tired of watching Joe Biden, who looks like he's about to die, up there kind of playing with the salad is what they're showing videos of. And they don't see the benefit. When you crank out, when you're the Democratic Party, you're saying the economy is great and people are struggling. It doesn't make sense. So that's why I always hate those numbers. Sure, I'll use them for bragging against somebody in an argument, but like, jobs are up, but are they paying well? Okay, we have 100% employment and everyone's making pennies. Come on, right? So these numbers that they talk about when they talk about the economy, which are basically for the CNBC crowd, they're not really going to, that doesn't mean that the people at this level are doing great. In fact, it usually means middle class and upper class or the elite are doing great. Usually they try to incorporate the middle class in the good economy, but oftentimes right now the middle class is shrinking. So we have rich people doing good and a large swath of the economy is great, apparently, for people that have capital and are, running businesses and so forth. But for the workers, it's not great. Wages aren't up. Wages are down. Wages have been down for years. We got CEO pay up. Okay. So when Joe Biden's and the Democrats are saying it's a good economy, there's a lot of folks that don't hear that and don't feel that. A lot of people aren't better off than 4 years ago. It's not because Joe Biden did bad things. It's because our system sucks and it continues to widen the gap no matter what president's going to be, because we're still working within the system that's built to widen the gap. Okay, that's what capitalism is. It's literally winner take all. Don't fucking argue it. Go get your MBA, fucking come back and talk to me about how capitalism isn't a winner take all. It is. That's it. So we build a system where we hope maybe I'm going to be the winner. Maybe that guy's going to be, we got maybe 10 winners. But ultimately, if you run this out to infinity, it's winner fucking take all. That's not going to be something where you're going to have equal distribution of things. And so anytime you say, oh, the economy's doing good, no, it's not. No, it's not. All the metrics, by the way, if you're on there and I see my Instagram and comments, by the way, I love it. Thank you for the comments. It's great. I will address them. And you're thinking, well, the economy's, no, by all metrics, the economy's great. We're doing better. It's the best economy in 50 years or some shit like that? Again, what does that mean for average people? Not a lot. And so it's easy to see, well, fuck this guy. This is bullshit. They're lying to me. Trump was right. And so guess what? I'm rooting for Trump. And there's a lot of folks that, it's that easy. And they think they're voting for their economic best. I mean, and they're not wrong, because what does it matter when you're at that place where, hey, everyone's doing better, but I'm not? Fuck Joe Biden. So there's a lot of that going on. And these people are angry and they're going to get off their ass and vote. So I think there's a couple combinations of things. First of all, Republicans are doing a good job with their information warfare. They're spitting out their shit, getting people off the sofa. People are angry about the economy because it's not affecting them, even though Democrats are saying it's good, and all metrics of how we measure the economy, it's great. Let me just harken back to the time when we were in lockdown. This was the most revealing moment of my life when I'm like, holy shit, how is this happening? So we have a shutdown, and I remember the stock market was going up for a little bit. And like, it was almost like the economy was still going to hum along with nobody working. So the economy was still happening, right? The markets were still working. Look back for the first couple, for a little bit in the beginning of the lockdown, like the stocks and all the metrics were still, they were like, oh, everything's fine. Yeah, we're going to have, of course, jobs were weird, but people work from home. So they were keeping it afloat and saying the economy was still okay. Of course, then you couldn't hold on forever when nobody's working. But before that, it was the best economy in the world, right? Best economy before COVID. No, that's not true. But so you look back at that time and you realize, like, I mean, first of all, 1 million people died, 1 million people. And the economy, the all the metrics that the rich people, CNBC, they were still going up. So, and it's like, wow, this is a disconnect. How is this even possible? They're saying the economy's great, nobody's doing anything. Like, we're shut down. For me, that was a aha moment of like, man, they better get there. And of course, it kind of eventually started to show in their graphs and charts what was really happening, right? And they're like, oh, we're starting to see a downturn. But they were all pushing for good economy because Trump was their guy. He's giving them their tax cuts. So, you have this kind of perception of the guy that's in office doing a bad job, even though by all other metrics, he's doing a good job. But just like any other year, it doesn't really affect the average Joe or Nancy. And so there's resentment towards the incumbent. And right now, I think the resentment that the Trump folks have and the Republicans have generated on a whole host of wedge issues they're going to steamroll us. The one saving grace, the one thing that I think could save us is women. If enough women, and I'm not saying, look, I'm not putting in the pressure like it's their fault. It's obviously the white male that's put us in this situation. Sorry. But I think if I were to say like the anomaly, it's like if enough women are fired up about the fact that this shit storm of taking away their rights and get out, then that will counter some of the things I'm saying. And I'd love to see it, and I hope I see it. I mean, it's really apparent when Trump has now admitted, by the way, for all the folks that have uteruses and that maybe want to get pregnant, he's open to having a metric where we can tell where the abortion, like, I don't know what they're thinking, but they're allowing for legislation so that people can be monitored to decide if they're, if the fetus is aborted. So if you are pregnant, I mean, I'm thinking if we're really going to be thorough, we're going to need to make sure every woman is just tagged. Like when you're born, you're tagged. So that way we know. We can't have you sneaking around and maybe getting pregnant, but maybe a chip or something to that effect is what they're thinking. We'll chip our women, and that way when they potentially get pregnant, I mean, look, the chastity belt seems a little bit brutal and maybe medieval, but these aren't new ideas, folks. Okay, these aren't new ideas, but Republicans have codified it, and they're going to codify the fact that they want to prevent abortions, and they're going to do anything that's possible. And as a technologist, as somebody that's looking at the solutions out there in the market, I'm thinking we're going to talk about chipping women someday. You heard it here. I know it's crazy, right? But why not? Look, if you're gonna try to figure out if they're pregnant, you're gonna have to have something that's all time running. Because what if they sneak off, have a quickie in the bathroom at the restaurant, and then how are you gonna know they're pregnant? Because it was just a fling. It was done, And now all of a sudden, so we need 24/7 tracking on these women to really curb the abortion issue. This is the solutions that are coming out of the fucking Republican Party. I wish I was lying. You can get paid $10,000 a pop in Texas for reporting somebody who's going to get abortion. I wanted to do a video where I'm just like a montage where I'm strapping on some shit and I'm going down. What are you doing? I've got the little forceps and all the things that they use at the gynecologist. I'm walking in with maxi pads or whatever the fuck. I'm armed, boom, but like kind of Rambo, boom, chunk, chunk, you know what I mean? I'm going down there. What are you doing, Nate? You look like you're armed to the T with fucking women's products. Well, I'm going to fucking make sure no one's committing abortions. And guess what? $10,000 a pop. Nate, the Abortion Hunter show is coming in. That was the show I was talking about. You think I'm joking? I've decided to go full board and make it a living. $10,000 a pop. I get maybe 5 or 6 a day. We're talking big money. I wish this was all silly, like kind of rambling bullshit, but what else am I how else do you kind of take that further when Trump says, yeah, I'm open to legislation that would monitor pregnancies? Well, when are they pregnant? You got to be on them 24/7. That's the only conclusion. Otherwise, it's completely crazy. It's completely crazy, by the way. But my hope is, and I definitely am injecting some fear, uncertainty, doubt into the stream here, but I think that it's realistic. These are logical steps. They're not leaps. And that's why I say I'm hoping that women kind of see this and see this real threat, that they're going to be looked at as cattle. From the Republican perspective, it's we control when you have your child or when you conceive, and we need to make sure that you're not doing anything. So, I mean, we're talking, the only way to do that is full-time surveillance. Only way. If I want to get rid of abortion, and this is the way I think it's going to work, then I'm going to lean into this and I'm going to say, you know what? We just have to just snip it in the bud. Like when they're young girls, we'll snip maybe when they're, right before they hit puberty. Let's just pick 8 because girls can sometimes mature young. We'll say 8. And 8 years old, we chip all our women. Just a chip. And it's not invasive. It just like sends off a little indicator to tell the pH or whatever it is, whatever. And it says, hey, this person might be pregnant. Then you got to go to the doctor because, the chip went off. Are you pregnant? All right, cool. Now your clock starts. Now we got to watch to make sure you don't have abortion. How else are you going to do that? How else are you going to fucking enforce this dumbass shit? Okay? So that's why I say President Trump, unless we can, and by the way, I'm not saying it's on the women to do that. I mean, it's odd probably to some people, but I'm super an advocate for women to have complete control over their body to the point where I'll fucking die for that shit. I don't give a fuck. It's complete, because what are they going to do next? How are they going to figure out how to categorize the next person or control somebody else? No, full autonomy on my body means full autonomy for someone else, whether they're female or male. And that means all the things that go with it. The beautiful, complex system that they're born with, their reproductive system, that's part of it too. That's theirs. They own that. They can do what the fuck they want with it. It's that simple. So I'm hoping that we can find, we can find the spirit of the women to fucking save us. Again, hopefully. But every other demographic, I'm not sold on. Black people fucking, I'm sorry, but there is a large swath of black folks that are fucking buying into this bravado bullshit. And I'm not saying I'm totally painting brushes right now. I get it. But I don't have the confidence that the black vote is going to be all Democratic, and it shouldn't be. It should be best policy. But I have a feeling that the bravado and the marketing that Trump campaign's doing is peeling off some of that demographic. It's peeling off all those demographics. People are tired. And again, it's very easy to say, look, the economy's doing great. Nothing's changed for me. I'm voting Trump. Fuck that guy. That guy's legit. He's the real deal. Trump, Trump, Trump. Let's make it cool. It's kind of bravado. I got people in my feed. I got people fucking cut my hair and shit talking about, and this isn't a pick on, by the way, it's not you and it's not you. Okay. So don't worry about that. But I got people that I interact with that are spouting this like Trump's some guy that they look up to. I mean, they also look up to Kanye and all kinds of dumb shit. Sorry, I know that was more specific, but I just got to be honest with you. That's that one that we got to talk about that one. The Kanye fucking support. He's not a god. He's not Jesus. He's another narcissist, and he's got a little bit deeper problems, maybe some bipolar in there too. Anyway, but I look and I look at the demographics, and of course I believe that the white resentment vote's always going to be for Trump. The rural vote's going to be Republican, and I don't see the excitement. I do see women being pissed off. By the way, I don't want to. I am not trying to insinuate that if women don't vote or it's it's on you. Quite frankly, it's on the white male that's been fucking us up for years and years and years. Colonization. We can go on and on and on. And if you're a white male, don't take it personally. It's not you, okay? It's not you, it's them. Just stop fucking acting like you have to defend. I mean, I'm not going to defend every other black person. If you say some black person did something or you're going to make a generality, I get what you're saying. I don't like stereotypes, but when the data supports it, I get it. A large part of the prison population are minorities. Okay. I'm a minority. Oh my God, you must mean I'm in prison. No, that's fucking stupid. Okay. So just kind of disconnect and allow yourself to understand that maybe you match that demographic, but I'm not talking about you. Or maybe I am. All right. I don't want to go south. Look, I want to be positive. I am going to strike a nicer tone someday, I think, in a multi-universe, but today I'm a little bit wound up because President Trump is happening. The only way it's going to stop is if we get off our ass. I don't see us motivated enough. I don't see enough people motivated to actually get off their ass and do something about it. I'd love to be wrong. You can say, hey, we're working tirelessly, Nate. You just sit behind your microphone saying nothing, just doing it. Oh, it's really easy if I can be an armchair quarterback. Yes, it is. It's not easy to be an armchair quarterback because I get hate too. But this is what I'm doing, and I'm pointing things out. Call me the conductor, if you will. Not a conductor. That sounds more controlling. But I'm like the guy that's like, pointing out things that are awful, and I'm just annoying, right? I don't care. I'll be that person. That person's usually picking up shit that somebody else didn't see. You always need that person in the room. So let's just say that's what Nate does. I don't know. Look, I go back and forth on kind of my level of activism and my level of work ethic is, I'm a workaholic. I'm not going to lie. I work all the time. It's fucking stupid. It's just I've decided that that's more constructive than other things. And when I oftentimes find it hard to pull away from what I'm working on, which is very selfish. And that's why I've really tried to grow this, because this is where I can at least voice and let people know, like, even though I'm kind of ADHD focused, hyper focused on this shit that I'm doing, whatever it is, the driving force for Nate Bomberger is way larger than the stupid fucking software I'm building. Okay. Especially the software fucking pharma companies. Absolute fucking waste of time. If you're working for those people, it's a waste of fucking time. No one uses it. No one fucking cares. So the only people that care are fucking project managers checking off, hey, we did $1 million project that's fucking useless. Am I bitter? Yes, I'm bitter about that. What a waste of time that was. Anyway, so going back to Trump. What are you going to do now? So he's president, now what? And this is what I was going to talk about, but I kind of spent all my time kind of backing myself into a corner trying to explain some of this stuff. But, oh, here comes the sweat. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a quick wipe on my brow. Why you guys sweat so much, man? Dog, come on. Come on, dog. The room was freezing when I started again. All right, where were we? Trump. Oh, I forgot to hit record on my thing. Oh. While I'm on that topic, I am going to roll an out podcast. Had some conversation today. I have a record button that automatically puts things in audio, and I literally forgot to get it. But I was gonna make May 1st the first day where I did a podcast version, but that's gonna be coming. Let me get back to the point though. So everything I'm saying tonight is feeling. It's gut. It's third party. It's hearsay. It's made up. It's Nate being angry, scared, fearful. But it's worth thinking about. I mean, I don't see why not President Trump, with the motivation level factor I've seen from my colleagues and my friends on the Democratic side, and Mr. Robert Kennedy, he, that guy is going to take some votes. No impressions are my thing, and I shouldn't make fun of that because it is a. I didn't realize it's a disability. It's like it's a spasm in his throat that gives him that kind of waiver, which is difficult to hear. But he's gonna the one comment and my nephew made. I didn't want to say his name. Is that you know, people are on the Republican Party are more inclined to stick with their party, and Democrats are more inclined to leave their party to vote for Robert Kennedy. So I agree with that. I also think that what I've seen, Democrats are like, I'm voting on uncommitted. Palestine thing's a big deal, and I get it. I am 100% not happy with the way that is being handled across the board. But I'm not stupid enough to think that the solution is to put a narcissist fucking wannabe dictator in office because of that one thing. And it's a huge thing. And I believe they're crimes against humanity type things. But I argue that crimes against humanity will continue to get worse and worse under one president versus the other. And it is not fun kind of picking between two pieces of shit. And I say pieces of shit because the position that I have and I believe is the moral and correct position on Palestine, I don't believe the United States has taken. And so in that regard, I think Joe Biden has been a piece of shit. Okay? Not gonna lie. I mean, I know he's kind of waffling, he's trying to hold the left together, but I'm not convinced. I mean, it's a grave mistake continuing to support the murder of innocent people under the guise that they're all fucking terrorists. Get the fuck out of here. I didn't. So now, because Trump was elected, now somebody comes in and says, look, you guys elected Trump, all you fucking Trump. I didn't elect him. Not everybody believes that guy's the shit, but every American gets to go into that moniker now, right? No. I say, when I went overseas when Trump was president, I'm like, them fucking people are crazy. I didn't vote for him. Trust me, I ain't vote for him, but them people are crazy. You can make that distinction. Okay? So I'm not saying all those people are bad. I'm not saying all those people are bad. I'm saying that not all those people are good and not all those people are good. And the way you're framing it seems weird to me. And I'm not happy with the way Joe Biden's been framing it. I'm not happy with the way that Israel's been framing it. But I will say that I'm not going to. I'm angry. I love the Utes encampments doing their shutting down colleges. Love it. Fucking keep going. Fucking yeah, do it. I love that. But I'm still not dumb enough to think that the solution is to vote for a complete imbecile. Now, he's going to be president, right? That's what I said. So what now? That's going to have to be another episode because I wanted to spend a lot more time on that and what we can do. And I'm actually going to take a nicer tone because we don't have a choice. He's going to be our president, so we're going to have to work within that system. And of course, I'm going to be yelling and screaming for fucking 4 years. I'm not excited about it. Of course, people have accused me of being excited about it because of my ratings. Of course, it'll be better for this because I'll be fired up every fucking day. But that's not, I promise you, I am way more evolved than thinking that the great American experiment needs to fucking take a pause so I can boost my fucking social media feed. Although, lockdown was really good for it too. Okay, I'm going to be honest. When people can't get away from me, that is awesome. All right, so let's wrap it up and I'll get my other point that I wanted to cover because I know I've been long-winded, but I do enjoy the long-windedness and I know you do too because it puts you to sleep. There will be a President Trump, and there will be a President Trump because Democrats aren't motivated. They're not angry. They're not going to get off their ass. Republicans are angry. They're going to get off their ass. They feel like they're being lied to. He's a strong person. He's going through it right now. I mean, it's the Jesus Christ story. He's the martyr for them. He's being crucified for them. He's going to come back and save them. They literally use this language when they're talking about him, the cult folks. And that is very powerful. It's very powerful. I mean, we've seen cults in action and what they can do. That's a hard movement to stop. You've got it tied to their core beliefs. And that's where my nephew was speaking about how a lot of people are moving to the alt-right, which then is kind of binding them to that position, because now they're, kind of integrating their belief systems, their ideological viewpoint with their religion and their kind of community. And so that observation that people are moving towards the church, it's not a bad thing, but I think the point that my nephew was trying to make was that tends to be a certain archetype of folks. And we know that the church has done a fairly good job of playing politics during political season and pushing their agenda. And a lot of times their agenda happens to be anti things that are progressing. I mean, a lot of times the church is going to be against things that are going to change what they've understood and codified as being acceptable. So new things come out. I mean, the motherfuckers, they killed Da Vinci? Didn't they do some shit? I mean, every fucking science person basically, oh, you're a witch. New, can't go new. That's been our history. That's why I'm not a fan of religion. To me, it's was some really smart people understanding how to get people. I mean, really smart people thinking, we need to fucking get something here, keep them happy. We're tired of worshiping this thing and this thing. We need to centralize it. They have too many gods. We got guys. I was walking down the street. I saw a guy worshiping a can. He was worshiping a can. It was just a can. You can't have people worshiping cans. I mean, Baal's one thing, golden calf, but cans. We need one God. One God. We need to centralize this shit. And then we can collect and we can kind of blah, blah, blah. I mean, I swear, why not? That's how religion came about in my mind. And so it's always been about controlling people. And so as my nephew was stating, that there's a movement of a large swath of people that are moving into and this could be good for Christianity if you want to argue, but I'm not thinking that it was a growth in Christianity. I feel like the exit. I feel like one of the things I thought of when my nephew was saying this was, I just feel like it's reinforcing. I don't know if maybe it's the thing, but it's definitely scary because these people are kind of reinforcing their core beliefs. And look, if you go to church, you think I'm bashing churches. I bash religion. Communities are great. Churches are a source of community for folks. There are churches that are good. There's churches that have done amazing things. Anytime you have a group of people, you're going to have problems. And so whether it's church, government, corporations, whatever, more than 3 people, you have politics. And so church, in my opinion, has become more of a legalized way of controlling people. And I'm not a fan of organized religion for that reason. So I'm not going to try to toe the line on the offensive stuff about religion, because I've been pretty clear that I am not a fan of those type of things. But I don't want folks to think that, I'm not out to abolish Christianity or any other religion. In fact, I'm more inclined to say, let it alone. If people want to pray in school, I'm actually on the other side. Like, I don't care what they do. I don't care what you do in public places. As long as you're not forcing somebody else to be under that thing, it's fine. Like, I don't like when a teacher would pray before a class. I think that's fucking stupid. But if a student wants to pray, fine. They're not in leadership. I don't, and that's my opinion, because praying to me is like, it's weird. And to me, it's like, what are you doing right now? Who are you talking to? I'm right here. Open your eyes. That's what I think. Pray with me sometime. I'll just look at you. I'll keep my eyes open. I love watching little children, because I was that kid looking to see whose eyes are open. And when I'm in a prayer, I just keep my eyes open, and I, not out of disrespect, I'm just like, I don't know what they're talking to. So I just like looking at the little kids and just looking at them like, and I don't know why. It's not a weird thing looking at the little kids. It's just like, you got your eyes open. Shame on you. Just shaming them for opening their eyes. It's my only entertainment. It's a weird thing when someone just bursts out in prayer. So the first thing I do is find some entertainment. Okay. And it usually is little kids that are fucking doing their shit. Just like, they're the only ones that have their eyes open. Everyone else got their head down. All right, look. I'm really, really oversharing my psychopathness. So let me wrap. Inevitable. Hoping to see women save us. I'd love to be wrong on all this. I think there's a lot more that goes into it that I could probably come up with that be more coherent, data backed things like polls and everything else. But I kind of gone away from polls knowing that I haven't been polled. I mean, how the fuck are they polling people these days? Like, think about it. Who answers their phone for a poll? It's got to be a weird situation or like, ooh, this is a poll. Let's do this. So I know that's not mathematically accurate what I'm saying, but I've put less and less. I mean, the polls were wrong when Hillary lost. They were all saying she was going to win. So that is when pretty much I decided to break up with polls, and I haven't gone back. They call me, they're in my inbox, they're trying to get me to fucking interact with them. I'm thinking about it getting PFA because I'm tired of polls because they just don't fucking reflect reality. What can you do? Well, you can prepare for President Trump, or you can get off your ass, maybe start a podcast, start a platform, go fucking sit in an encampment, call your legislator, become buddies with them, and coerce them to do the right thing. I mean, I don't know. You got to get active though. You got to do something, find something creative. There's a ton of, and by the way, yesterday, my whole thing about nonprofits got some hate today. I love nonprofits. Give to your nonprofit. It's awesome. That was making a point. Go work for a nonprofit. Do something. Do something to help the cause. Um, so, all right. Last but not least, I want to talk about the platform a little bit. Okay. So, I'm going to be doing podcasts and I'm just going to be rolling out. The podcast is just going to be this raw. I'm going to clean it up and put an intro and outro and then dump it onto the platforms. What I'm finding is you motherfuckers don't watch me. Nobody watches me. I found this out through some curious polling. Nobody really watches me. Maybe somebody on Instagram is. And by the way, that's not hating on you. But the large majority of folks, like they turn me on, then they lay down or they do their drive. So they're not seeing the whiz bang and the stuff that I think is really cool. So what does that tell me? It means that I need to just roll this into a podcast. So that's going to be happening as well. Didn't forget about After Hours. Didn't forget about the Movie Crew. We're still going to set that up. They don't even know it, but they're going to fucking do it. I didn't forget about you. So we've got a lot going on, but I really want to focus on the fact that this new kind of venture is going to be, we're going to put it into a podcast. Since y'all don't really care about watching, my YouTube channel is reflective of that. We're going to roll it into a podcast and maybe we can extend our reach that way as well. By the way, I'm still excited about doing the video format. I prefer it. It holds me accountable. It keeps me making sure that I look presentable every day because I can literally let myself just go. So I have to at least put on a shirt and come in, and I can't do Zoom calls with no shirt on. So I just feel like that's the best way to go is to put it into the form that everyone's, I've heard so many people say, oh, I fall asleep to it or I do it in my drive. And that doesn't really sound like they're watching me when I hear that. So we're going to roll that out. I reached out to some folks to just find out what I could do and what kind of, what the best platforms are. And so I would say that next week you're going to be seeing podcasts. It's pretty easy to do, and I'm going to start rolling that out. And so this will be in an audible version where you can kind of subscribe that way. Podcasts, do the podcast dance, and it'll be 4 times a week. So I don't know if that's a lot for a podcast, but I'm going to roll it out and clean it up and just pump out 4 times a week like I am with this. And hopefully that will at least wet your whistle and keep you guys listening, since nobody really wants to see me anyway. And that's fine. It really is. I don't care if nobody watches the YouTube. What I care about is these ideas, and maybe somebody acknowledges that there's some intelligence going on here, and maybe some of these things are well thought out. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's just Nate angry, but I think there's a lot of different reasons why I do it. And I would say that the least of them is whether you watch or listen. I don't care. You prefer not to watch, fine. Listen. That's great. So we're gonna try to meet the fans where they want, and that's podcasts. So they want to hear Nate's voice. They want to fall asleep to the sweet, low sounds of Nate Bomber. coming to you live from the candy factory as you go to sleep, right? I'm getting that radio voice. Pull it real low. That way you know you're listening to Nate Bomberger on the podcast. Maybe I'll use some kind of modulator to lower it to the point where it's real low. Almost scary. All right. You know, when I start winging it, it's time to wind down. But we're going to do the favorite part of the show, which is the fucking thanks. You guys are still making it rain. You're still making it rain. You're still making it rain. You're still making it rain. I got my Instagram back. My reach got cut in half. All this crazy shit happened. And my numbers are still good, though. And I'm excited. So thank you. I think I have 47 subscribers, I think, on YouTube. I might have got a new subscriber. I know I got at least 15 new followers on Smashing the Party. I know I got at least 25 new followers on my personal account. So, I mean, thank you. Again, it's awesome. I am excited. I promise you, I'm excited every day, and I don't know when it's going to wear off, but I fucking love it. And I'm just excited to get back on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, so I'll wind and I'm going to do a little wrap up and kind of talk about this next phase and how I'm going to pull this off so I can get these this movie crew in to talk about their movie that's coming out soon. But I'm excited, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Before I leave, though, I did promise I'd read the comments, so I'm going to go to the comments and take a look at that. But I want to say thank you. Also, I appreciate the engagement. I know it looks like it's one person. Oh, it said, oh, I'm still watching. So somebody's fired up. But I'm gonna address the comments. Listen, calm down. This is my thing. I know you've watched for a long time. You'll be all right. We go back. We're nothing but love. I love it though, and I just want to say thank you. Seriously, it's really nice, and it's good for my mental health. This is good for my mental health. I've been able to kind of mature in a way to handle validation a little bit differently this time around. So I'm equipped for the negative comments, and I don't take it personally. I took it personally. I mean, this is a personal experience for me, so I take it personally. But I've learned to kind of deflect that and also appreciate the fact that somebody's giving a shit, right? Even if it's angry, and if they're mad and they don't like what I'm saying, they actually are at least giving it a listen, and I have to respect that, and I do. So I want to make sure that this time around, as we grow and we hit our numbers, which we've hit every single time, that we make sure that we're still respectful for those that I disagree with. You know I'm fiery. You know I'm going to fucking fall flat on that one, and I'm going to piss somebody off and say things that are going to probably sever people's opinion of me. But I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm going to say it every day. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. You know, I know yesterday when I did that ask, it was like, fuck, I felt like there's a little bit of guilt because like you guys do it. I ask, and then all of a sudden people do stuff, and it's like, holy shit, it's awesome, but it also is humbling, and I have to be respectful of that. And so I just have to always say thank you. And I ask that you do it again, and I ask that you continue to follow me and subscribe and you share it. But I love it and I appreciate it. And if nobody does, that's fine too. But I just want to say that I feel the love. I really do. Even from the negative comments and the engagement, I feel it. And I'm excited about it. And I said before, our reach, I think I talked on Monday, it was like 2,500, whatever, on Smashing the Party. It's like 5,000 now. I haven't spent a penny. It's got 500 followers. Okay. So that's pretty good. 5,000 different individuals have interacted with the page or with one of these videos in the last week. That's fucking good, right? So, I mean, we're getting there, folks. And I'm serious about the fact that, you know, knowing what I was able to accomplish before with your help and what we were able to accomplish, I should say, I just don't see why we can't do even better and maybe even hit 1 million someday. But right now we're trying for 10,000. So let's help get me to 10,000. My YouTube is at 47. And the other platforms are kind of creeping up there into the 1,000 marks. And I've got a ways to go. But most important number to me is like the amount of folks that I touch, just that hear about Nate Bomberger or Smashing the Party or the things that I'm saying. That's important. So you guys have been doing a great job with that and helping that spread the word. I'm humbled. I'm thankful. I know that I rub people the wrong way, and I know that I'm not always very personable around the office and so forth. But I know that I can't say that that'll change just because I'm a fucking weirdo. But I just appreciate it. So let's go through these comments. All right, we got comments, a lot of comments. The person's no longer there. Um, engagement comes from many things. It's taxes and money. That's it. So taxes and money are motivators, is what their claim is. The Fed has held the highest interest for over months now. They won't lower. That's true. We're talking about inflation there. So, okay. You know what? I like this. There's some perspective there. I like it. So I'm looking at the comments on Instagram. You should be able to see those too. And I'm not sure why the videos sometimes disappear. They go into some archive when I do a live. But no, this is great. It's all about money and how they spend it. They created a split war, and it's a lose-lose for American people. The divide is on purpose. So all good points, Ken. I agree with you. I see your comments, and I do agree that um, it's their job to split us. And I would also agree with you that oh wow, Trump isn't the solution, but at least he is exposing the problem. See, this is where I have to detract. I have to kind of veer away. I'll be respectful, but I don't think Trump exposes any problem. I think I mean, he is part of a problem, but I think we've always known if there's any problem that Trump exposes, it's that we need more guidelines and we need more restrictions on our public officials. That's it. I don't think there's anything else that he's done a good job of exposing. He does like to seem like he's kind of going in there and rebel rousing, but he's swampy just like everyone else. So I don't look at him as being this detractor of and this total. I believe he's going to ignore rules, but I don't believe he's doing it with any purpose, right? So, and that's what scares me. No, it's good. Look, all good comments. I think I covered most of the stuff about it. You know, the one comment that was made was that the economy is not great. Yeah, it's not great. I said that. I said that those metrics are used to indicate a great economy, and those metrics are the same metrics that have been used for years. It doesn't mean that it's a great economy. My point that I made earlier was that we had a good economy during lockdown, and the market was still doing well, and nothing was happening. So it was easy to see there was a disconnect between their economy and what's reality. So we're in line there, Ken. You know what? Now I actually understand why you watch, because we actually agree and we actually come from it from two different perspectives. I think you hate the system as well, and you hate the things that are going on. You see a better way. And I believe that, you've just decided that this is the way you think it should be better done. This I'm open to. I actually appreciate that. I can appreciate that we are on the same page. We just have different solutions for it. And it comes from our personal experience, I'm sure. So love the comments. Appreciate it. Really well thought out. And there's a lot. I know you said you're still watching, but I know you're not because it says nobody's watching. So, but I appreciate it. I don't know if there's any other comments. Let me see my other one. That was just Instagram. We're just winging it, folks. We're just doing a little flower here, little Bob Ross, nice little pretty flower. Look at that! Look at that pretty. It's pretty, isn't it? Pretty little flower. What do you guys think of my voice alterations? Think I got it? What do you think of my little my? All right, let me just see if I can look at more comments. I don't think there are. Oh shit! Wait. Oh no. Okay, that's just me. No more comments. All right, listen. Again, President Trump, say it with me, prove me wrong. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe I'm definitely going to do a session on what to do when he's president. We'll go further. We're just going to lean into it. But today was just kind of like, wetting the whistle of the fear and kind of some of the backdrop of why I think he's going to be president. Talked about where we're going. Keep pushing that like button. Keep stomping on the share button. If you've got time, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome. You gals are awesome. Everyone's awesome. Make sure you tune in tomorrow 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll get it. We'll light it up. Tomorrow I'm going to light it up for you, okay? For all of you that don't get to watch the video, or that do watch the video, I do know that the sync is off and it's probably a little frustrating. So do what everyone else is doing. Just turn it off and listen to me. Apparently my voice is really soothing and puts people to sleep at night. All right. That's it, guys. I think I winged it and tried enough random voices to call it a day. Peace out. Now, where's my transition button? Can I do it? I don't want to do this. All right, I'm ending. Sorry, guys, I'm spacing. Forgot I was on a show.